I saw death and I learned to pray. That is briefly the story of my spiritual life. It is the story of me arriving in a small village in West Africa at the most difficult time of the year. It's a time when many people died. I was completely unprepared, spiritually, emotionally, to witness the amount of suffering that I was seeing. So what I did is what the villagers themselves did. I prayed, and I joined them in prayer. I prayed to God for presence and strength. I'm eternally grateful to God for the presence and strength that I was given at that time. Without that, I would not have survived. I know what salvation is. I called to God, and God came to my rescue. God saved my mental health. Without God's presence, I would have certainly drowned in a pool of sorrow and despair. It is really hard to describe the presence of God as it shines through in prayer. It is unmistakable though when you feel it. At that moment you are sure you are not alone. And it is also the beginning of your ability to see secrets of life that will otherwise remain hidden. For instance, we ask, what is the meaning of life? And what we mean is, what is the meaning of life to me? What is the meaning of my life? And when something unfortunate happens, we ask, why did this happen to me? This is a normal question. And when I go on, I want you to know that I really desire your happiness. I want nothing more. And I also believe that you deserve it. But I also know that the meaning of life is not about me. The meaning of life is about life itself. Life is its own meaning. I matter, but not for myself. What matters for me and for you, I believe, is to come alongside of life's own purpose. That is what we're here to do. I don't really have unearthed all that means completely, but I know that much. Later in that year, when I learned to pray, I almost died of malaria myself. I was aware that I was dying. I felt life draining from my body. It was a direct and visceral experience. But I was not afraid. I was surprised. I was 30 and I was living in a faraway village in West Africa, far from my family and my home. And it had never occurred to me that I might not return to my own family. This idea, though, did not scare me. I felt rather resigned. It felt almost like I was actually going home for real. It could be that my body was so weak, ravaged from malaria, that I simply could not put up any resistance. And that is possible, but I don't really think so. No, it really did feel like I was going home. I had a clear sense that there is a next step, that something is awaiting for me, even though I had no idea what it was. And it didn't scare me. Not that I did not worry though. I worried for the family that I was living with at the time. I worried what they would feel when they saw my dead body in my own room, having to bury me somehow, having to notify my family and my friends that I had died there, having to come to some decision about my belongings that I had brought with me. I was really concerned for them, and I worried about my own family back home. I knew that they would miss me. I knew that they would be sorrowful. But for myself, no, I wasn't scared. I was thinking back to this experience sometime last week, and quite honestly, I had almost forgotten it. That visceral sense of God's presence that I felt in that period of my life, I haven't always fully lived up to it. I haven't fully incorporated it in my life, still, till this day, many years later, even though it was perhaps what saved me more than anything. Nothing human is foreign to me. But of all my life experiences, finding God in prayer at the time when I was nearing death myself, that is definitely, certainly the principal experience. Now, as you're listening to me, you may say, well, I'm not religious, and that's okay. That is totally fine. This is more than that. I'm just really not trying to convert you. I'm not trying to hold out anything for you. I don't even want to suggest that I necessarily know more than you do. I'm just reflecting on my own path and the depth of it. And I hope that it invites you to do the same. I had some real clarity. I lost it along the way, and I'm seeking to regain it. I would like to see if you too have such a principal experience in your life, a feeling, a presence, whatever it is that you might think. Have you lost it, or is it with you always? It doesn't really matter what it looks like, what it feels like. It doesn't matter what tradition it comes from, or even if it comes from any kind of tradition. What matters is, can you tap into that experience, that memory, that feeling, that presence, whatever it is? Can you keep it with you? Can you keep it central in your life? Can you maintain it as the most important thing? That's really all I have for now. But here let me end with this quote from St. John of the Cross. If you don't know that name, you know one of his books, the title at least of one of his books, called The Dark Night of the Soul. Here's the quote. This was his epigraph. And it's not that I know what this fully means, but I would love to be able to know this by the time it's really time for me to pass on from this life. Here's what he said. Think nothing else but that God ordains all. And where there is no love, put love, and you will draw out love. Blessings to you.